Hey everyone, quick new video. I hope quick. I've been meaning to do this subject for a long time now, but I finally got the energy, let's say, and also the drive to do it because I just read a post on LinkedIn, which like a lot of these videos are inspired by LinkedIn bad takes or whatever. It's about security and compliance and assurance and software, um, how should I call it? Uh, the concept that we need to be better in software development, the concept that software developers are somehow or another not doing their best, they're not creating software as good as they could be, and the very false idea that more regulation, more compliance and assurance, more standards, more rules, and even rigider or more rigid development processes and management is going to somehow or another eventually lead us to this utopic, euphoric state of perfect software development where costs are always properly estimated, development is on time, and there are no bugs, no errors ever. Absolutely false. And I would argue that the exact opposite is happening. If you look nowadays at all the software issues that we've been having, like what was it, the Windows security update that crippled like a bunch of machines, and now IPv6 problems and hardware problems relating to Intel's CPUs, hardware problems relating to AMD's latest CPUs. All of these issues and all of these problems and all of these errors are in part normal because we're not perfect beings, especially when you have a huge amount of people, designers and developers working on the same project. We are all just humans that make mistakes, and mistakes tend to propagate from the top level down to catastrophic levels. That is one aspect. But the other aspect is that we've had 10, 20, 30 years of standards, of best practices, of corporate guidelines, of compliance, assurance, security, all this bull crap, all this bullshit that has, from what I can see and from what I can tell, the exact opposite effect on actual software quality, on actual security, and on actual quality of life for both the developers and the clients. So the more rigid you make a system and the more difficult you make it for developers to actually do their job, the far worse of a job those developers will do. I can absolutely assure you of this. If it takes, like I mentioned in a comment that I left to this LinkedIn post, if it takes 2 months to ship one button, and no, it's not because of the code base, it's because of all the compliance bullcrap and all the assurance and all the standards. If it takes you 2 months to add a new freaking button to your website or to your whatever software, the developers behind it are absolutely floored morally. They absolutely hate their jobs. They don't want to do it. They don't want to run into the nth manager who is going to bug them about being compliant and about following the guidelines and about making sure that they wrote all the unit tests and all that other bullshit. The more rigid the system is and the longer it prolongs, the more it prolongs development cycles, the more boring and creatively bankrupt the software is going to be. And when that happens, and when there's no sense of urgency for the developers, they will do a shit job, or they will just scuttle around to meet all the compliance and all the standards while actually ignoring what it is that they are building, while actually not caring that the ticket doesn't make any goddamn sense when they look at it in their Jira board, and they just say, okay, whatever, I'll just implement it, I'll just ship it, and my manager is going to say, wow, great job, but it's actually not going to do what it's supposed to be doing, or we shouldn't even be implementing it, right? And so this leads to a culture of yes man. This leads to a culture of no innovation, no creativity, and no sense of actual pride in your work. And also, of course, all of these standards and all of this BS, this is like corporate lawyer talk for pointing the finger, right? Because if you've got your standards met, and if you've got your tests in place, and if you've got your guidelines being properly followed, nobody can point a finger at you. Whether you're a manager or a lowly intern, or maybe the lowly intern does get fingers pointed at them because it's not that easy to actually code and do your job while following all of this bullshit. But anyway, this is a bit of a rant. I apologize for that, but it's the effect is 100% opposite. The more regulation, the more rigidity you have in a development or a creative process, the worse the result is going to be, always. The effect is the exact opposite. Now, I get it, there must be some standards, there must be some quality levels, right? But you shouldn't be pushing those. I mean, most of these should be at an individual level. The individual developer themselves should be able to have their own standards, to have their own guidelines that they agreed upon with their peers, right? These things need to be flexible, they need to be organic, they need to fall in place naturally, and not as a result of top-down bullshit that the higher-ups have no fucking idea what they're talking about, but they've heard that everybody's doing TDD, and now everybody in their company needs to do TDD, right? This is very often the case, and this always leads to problems. I'm just getting mad talking about it, so I should just stop. But yeah, my point stands. If you want better software, including better quality of life for both the developers and the clients, don't be rigid, and do not apply all standards and best practices and all the other bullshit that you read online on a blog by some dude who essentially deploys a button every 2 months and is and gets all the pats on the back for following all the procedures properly. Don't do that. You're far better off letting your developers actually care and actually do something about do something creative about their tasks. Anyway, thank you. See you guys next time.